everyone. Welcome to Work Consultancy Inc.'s We Connect, a discussion forum dedicated to your personal and professional development. My name is Brittany Seeley, and I will be your host for tonight's session. Tonight, we'll be continuing the series with Liz, Keeping Things Simple in the Digital World. So we'll be focusing on part 2 of this series. And we are live on Facebook, so good night to our Facebook viewers. We're expecting a very enlightening session tonight, just as last week. So I would encourage you to take a video or a picture throughout the session and post it on your story, tagging us at workbarbados_. That's on Instagram. Tonight's session is absolutely free. So if you know someone who can benefit from this information, please don't let them miss it. Just some housekeeping before we begin. All of our sessions are recorded. During the presentation, feel free to leave your questions and comments in the chat, and we will be having a series of polls tonight, so feel free to participate in those. And if you wish to make your contribution verbally, simply indicate by raising your hand, and we will unmute your mic. So let's jump right into the session. Tonight's speaker is Liz Stanton, and Liz served for 25 years as an officer in the Cheshire Constabulary, working with the most vulnerable in the community. After a decade in the field, Liz played a vital role in developing and implementing the Force's Safer Schools and Young People Partnership model. It was for this work that she received the Order of the British Empire MBE Award, which was presented in 2013. Liz is now a senior trainer and family protection manager for Get Safe Online. She delivers vital online awareness training to multiple agencies and partners, both in the UK and abroad. Most recently, in the Caribbean, British Overseas Territories. So let's welcome Liz. Liz, over to you.
Okay, thanks very much, Brittany. It's great to be back again. And I've kind of changed the way I've done this for this session. As we go through, I hope that you will get a little bit more involved, use the chat facility, and we've implemented some polls as well. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to be looking at keeping your identity safe around online scams. I've chosen 2 in particular that we'll look at, and then we'll finish off around children and young people and how we can actually keep them a little bit more safer online as well. As you can see in the top, there's a little yellow face. When that shows, I will be asking you to consider and to think about what I'm actually saying, and if you can, just take part and just pop in the chat section how you're feeling as well. That would be great. So just to refresh really from last week and away as an introduction again for those that are new to us, we are a UK non-for-profit organisation. We're working in partnership with government and leading organisations in banking, retail and internet security and many other sectors as well. Our advice is always completely up to date, and we consistently signpost users to the most effective and up-to-date resources, which, as we all know, change on a regular basis. The site is split into 2 sections. There is a personal section, and on the personal section, as you can see, everything you need to know and much more there to navigate around. It's very simple. It's just one click will take you to wherever you need to go as well. There's a business side as well. This offers invaluable and much needed resources for small businesses and to medium-sized businesses as well. And that covers topics such as hardware and devices, information security, online safety and security, rules, guidelines, procedures, software, and ways you can work as well. But the Get Safe Online, we've had the opportunity to bring these services to the Caribbean, which is part of the UK's Commonwealth Cybersecurity Programme. It is fully funded by the programme, and the services come to no cost to the people accessing them. You can access your site, which reflects local needs and concerns, by either clicking onto the flag on the Commonwealth site or by actually going direct to your site, which is www.getsafeonline.bb. The information as our site is very easy to follow, and there's lots of little videos and clips on there for you. So you've got 3 sites there which you can flick through to find and have a look what's going on. But let me just give you a basic reminder. 3 simple steps to follow, and this is what we looked at last week as well. We looked at passwords, internet security in the software, and also about updating your operating systems. And just remember that if everybody follows these 3 steps, 80% of cybercrime would be stopped. So just like last week, I'd like you to think about every device that can be connected to the internet, especially when we move through to the children and young people's section. So thinking about what you have connected in your home and all the devices there, just remember, do you actually need all them devices? And if you don't, please just switch them off, disable them, and just put them out the way. So what actually do you do online? Okay, this is the little character there in the corner. So if you want to just put some through on the chat, is shopping your favourite? What about booking tickets, cinema, concerts? I don't think many of us will be booking flight tickets for quite some time now anyway. What about social media, religious, inspirational, spiritual experiences? Banking? Do many of you bank online? What about searching the internet, learning, education, learning new things? News updates, emails, entertainment, dating, gambling, gaming? What about work gigs? And then maybe promoting your side hustle. Do you promote it through your social media channels? There's lots there to think about. But how many apps and websites, looking at your phone or your devices, how many do you have open right now? I'd be interested to see, or even to know, how many you actually have on yours. I mean, when I looked at mine the other day, I actually had quite a lot there open. So I'm trying to practice what I preach, and obviously I went and closed them all down straight away. But it's worth having a look at all the apps and websites what you've downloaded and signed up for. Let's not leave them open for the cybercrimes to come snooping. If you're not using them anymore, remove them, cancel them, and certainly sign out of them once you finish using them. Don't just click off them. So let's move on looking at the first one, keeping your identity safe. Remember, your identity is worth an absolute fortune. Why? Well, because the criminals can use your information to scam people out of money, take credit and loans out in your name, and damage your reputation. They could even stalk and harass you, and there's so much more. How much information can somebody actually find out about you from the internet? We're just going to have a little clip. It's over in seconds, so please just watch and take in as much as you can.
What day is it?
It's my birthday.
It's good to share. But check you have the right privacy settings. Or someone can make a lot of money from being you.
That literally took seconds, but all that information was gleaned off the social media sites. So just let's have a look. Facebook. Well, Facebook is a great site for communicating with friends and groups, but it only takes one click to accept a friend request. And let's face it, many people just accept without checking who that real person really is. Once a scammer has been accepted, unless your account is locked down vigorously, they will have access to all your photographs and lots of information about you. They may steal your photographs and use them to scam other people using a made-up persona. And every time you upload a new picture on your site, they will do the same on their account, so that it keeps it fresh and more plausible. And with Twitter, well, scammers will use the direct messaging feature to try and engage with you. And if dealing with a company on Twitter, always look for the blue tick. This gives you confidence that the account is a real one. And what about Instagram? Well, Instagram, it's a scammer's dream. Millions of photographs are just waiting to be stolen and used for a fake persona, someone pretending to be you. If you do have a private Instagram account, never allow access to anyone who you don't know personally. or know otherwise, it defeats the object, as it only takes one person again to steal them pictures and then share it and sell it even. So remember, never take anyone at face value unless you know them personally and physically know them. Safeguarding your identity starts with you, and then you need to ensure all your friends and contacts do the same. So too much information. A lot can be done to ensure that you keep it safe, but it is about you doing it. Nobody can do it for you, really. We can talk about setting settings and doing passwords and everything else there, but unless you physically sit down with your devices and go through all your apps and your websites and actually make those changes, it's not going to make a difference. Well, what about your digital footprint? Well, firstly, we all have one, even the unborn child. Why? Because the parents upload the scanned pictures and then they go on cataloguing their child's journey in life. This carries on until the child is old enough to object. But who can see your online world? Well, employees, colleagues, universities, partners, future in-laws, and of course criminals all want to see who you really are. I'm not asking you to delete everything you've posted, but it's worth looking to see what's out there and what it says about you. When I say think before you post, what I really mean is think which account you're going to post it on. It's important to still be you and still to express yourself, but this must be done in a sensible and, dare I say, controlled way. It's worth thinking about setting up a number of social media accounts. A personal account where you can have a laugh and share pictures between your friends and family. But do be mindful about using emojis. These can be great fun if they're used right, but remember they can also give the wrong impression. What you may find funny may just leave somebody else upset or wondering what you actually mean. And on these private accounts, your profile details shouldn't have anything that links to you. This will help stop random people trying to find you. Use a generic picture, a scene from the beach or the woods or something like that, or a bird or anything for your profile picture. And think of a name that only your friends know you by. This should have tight privacy settings so that the pictures and information are more secure. But obviously remember that nothing is 100% sure online. And then think about having a public social site that potentially employees and everyone else can search for you. This one will show that you are digitally responsible, have a good, varied, safe social life, and that you do have principles. They will look to see who you follow and dig deeper in what your posts actually look like. You may think this is strange advice, but trust me, rightly or wrongly, people of all ages have been looked over or passed over for the next job or promotion because of the inappropriate things that they may have shown themselves or the company in good light. Build a positive and balanced online image and protect that as if it was your life savings. 80% of employees use social media to screen before hiring. So just think about where you're posting it and would you want your grandma to see it? So searching the internet. Have any of you actually searched what's out there? Put your name in, your nickname, or any names that your family and friends know you by. Even if you own a company, put your company name out there. On your social sites, as I say, use a different name and a picture so that nobody actually know who you are unless they are the true friends. And when you stop using a social network profile or website, it's a good idea to deactivate it or delete it. This means it's no longer live and shouldn't be searchable online. You can also request the information that Google or any of the others that hold on you. Okay, so that's quite easy and good. Once you've got the information, it's worth going through everything and maybe look at trying to get things removed, any posts or any comments that maybe you've done when you were a lot younger. And remember that even private searches are not private. They are visible to the search engine provider and possibly by others. And they do retain your information for about 6 months and will share across platforms. And just because it appears at the top of the list, it doesn't mean it's a good, safe site. And it is worth setting up Google Alerts in relation to yourself and your family and your business. You can do it weekly, daily, monthly, whatever suits you, but at least it's an indication of what actually is out there. It is quite easy. Most of the social media platforms now will give the information that they hold on you. So it is go down to Snapchat, as you can see here, or there's Facebook as well, and ask for the data of what they hold, and then just take the time to go through that data. So we've got a little poll here. What is your favorite social media site, and which one do you use the most?
Okay, I've launched the poll. I'm just waiting on a couple more responses.
Well, okay, let's have a look. So it looks like Instagram is the favorite for everybody there. Okay, interesting there. Twitter, Snapchat, and LinkedIn aren't even mentioned there. Instagram first and then Facebook. It's worth taking a bit of time and reviewing all your apps and social media sites. If you no longer use them, as I say, shut them down. We don't want them just sitting there waiting for somebody else to take them over. And the big thing out there, especially with COVID-19, real or fake, how can you tell? Whatever site you use, you can become a target. So before you do the quiz or the competition online, make sure that they are genuine. How do they store your information? What do they actually gain from you entering? Many of these sites are actually created by identity thieves. They often ask questions to figure out security question answers. All the information you give helps them create a fake account, which in turn can cause somebody else to be upset or scammed, or potentially scammed out of money or their own identity. You may also be adding to the fire by spreading false information. So please just verify the information before you actually spread it. I'm sure if you are on social media, as I say, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, you'll have seen posts like these. Those behind creating these pages don't care how or why their posts get liked or shared. They only want the job done as quickly as possible. Pages like these is a method used by commercial parties and scammers to raise the popularity of the site. So the post gets liked, shared, and comments. But in the background, the page that has made the post is attracting followers as a kind of collateral consequence. And at some point, the page is sold or used for something more sinister. Whatever it is, it's because the person behind the page wants to make money. So remember, they don't care who they exploit in order to do so. If you do want to donate, then go to the official sites by visiting the websites and donate that way. So let me just show you this one. It is important that you check any competitions or buy anything or even like the page. This particular one, RV for Less, it has an amazing amount of followers across most of the platforms. They have an address, a website, and even a telephone number you can contact them. They even had a link that you can find out more details about them. Their page history shows they've been around since June 2010. A good thing that you're looking at is the page history, because it also tells you when they actually started and more details in there as well. But unfortunately, pages like these, because they're popular, they do have a large number of followers that attracts the criminals too. So how many of you would be fooled by this page? When you put this into the search bar, you will get 3 different sites, all with the same name. Unfortunately for the real one, their site has been cloned. What happens is the criminals will clone a site. Then they usually offer you a competition. And in this one, you could win a motorhome just by liking and sharing the page. But if you checked it out before doing that, you would see that the competition ended on the 7th of February. and the page was only opened a few weeks before. They then created another one on early 2020 offering the same competition. These are data collecting sites. The more data collected, the more money is made. So make sure you have your right settings for what you want to do on your social media accounts, and don't just create an account and think it will run itself. So you need to check your facts. There is one sensible ground rule when it comes to sharing or liking posts. If you are unsure whether a post is trying to get your information, it's always safe to assume that that's what they're trying to do. But if you'd like to be sure, there are a few checks you can do. So before you do anything, check out the page is legitimate. Look for the blue tick. Check out the transparency section when it was created. Is the person sharing the post trustworthy? And do they share these kind of posts a lot? Is the date on the original post relevant? Even if there was a prize, it's certainly be gone after a few months. Is there a disclaimer? In a real giveaway, there should be a link or a mention to the terms and conditions. And if the website owners didn't go through the trouble of setting up terms and conditions, their prize most certainly will not be real. And remember, before you like or share a post, check it out. There's nonsense.com, Snoops, and Hawkslayer. These are absolutely fantastic sites just to go over or to follow them yourselves on your social media. So have you got your right settings? On your phone, you can see which apps have access to your photographs, your microphone, your contacts and location. It's worth taking the time and keep checking as well. And it's certainly worth setting up a separate email and password for your social media sites. Remember, I did go through this last week. If a criminal gains access to one of your sites, they can potentially gain access to everything else you do if you're using the same details. And just before we move on, just have a look at this. It's a great clip to show you why it's important to have the right settings. When you share or like a post of a mutual friend, then their friends can see what you have liked and commented as well, unless your settings are right.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Brilliant.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Hot chocolate.
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
Cheers.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new like for Damien.
Hey,
Carly,
are you standing by? Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook now.
I'm searching Google.
I have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready?
For information on Damien.
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is he banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's her name? Nicholas.
Nicola. His date of birth, 7th May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children at age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it.
Thank you.
Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know that?
Brody, who goes to UCL. Martin, who went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
How did you know?
That is... I don't really understand.
Oh, pardon?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
Okay, that's quite worrying, really. All their profiles were open profiles, which also means they can see everything that they do, but all their friends and everybody else who's connected to them as well. So let's move on to online scams and have a look at them in more details. Last week, we looked at how scams can happen through clicking on links or responding to text calls, or messages or calls. And I'm hoping that you've had the chance to look at your settings and update your security software, enable 2FA, and all the other things we looked at. Social accounts are exposed on a daily basis with potentially devastating consequences, but unfortunately most people don't understand the gravity of the problem until it actually personally affects them or the family. So now we have COVID-19. This is one of the topics everybody is searching for, especially on the news, changes every day. The criminals are exploiting this and playing on your anxieties to extract personal information and data that's out there for you. So I'm just going to touch on two of the scams, shopping scams and dating scams. But firstly, remember that criminals will use search engines as a way to entice you onto their bogus websites, along with social media sites. Don't click on the top one. Do your homework and research. They can pay to get at the top of the search engines. Many will have ads as well. So when you're actually putting your data in and your details in there, you could be signing up that your data is actually shared across third-party apps as well. So let's just have a quick poll about shopping online. So who shops online then? Yes, no, or sometimes? Oh, that's answered near enough. Interesting there. Okay, so the majority of you actually do shop online. It'd be interesting to see what sort of shops and what you're actually doing on there, but we could save that for another day. So let's have a look. So we're going to just touch about shopping as well and the scams there, what happens. So before you do any shopping online, make sure you install the latest software and app updates. These usually contain important security updates that can protect you against fraud and identity theft. And again, use strong separate passwords and enable 2FA as well. So how can you make sure that you have a good shopping experience? Well, some of the emails or texts you receive about amazing offers may contain links to fake websites. They're just designed to steal your money and personal details. But not all links are bad. So it's good practice to check by typing the shop's website address manually into the address bar of your browser, or find the website through your search engine and use the ones that you usually use on a regular basis. Have a look at the website, check out the reviews. Ideally, do a safe website. Check out the email address, the phone numbers, if there is a physical address even there. Have a look at the returns policy, and even check if they do social media accounts as well. It is worth to look at the privacy that they may have there as well, just to see who else they're sharing your data with. And once you've done all that and you're happy with it, go ahead and order the things that you want. If you've got a credit card, it's best to use that because you get most of the major credit card providers will insure online purchases as well. So it is worth checking. But what we are seeing, there is a scam which is on the rise now. Our scammers are asking you to pay through PayPal friends and family. You should never use this option unless you actually know the seller personally. Because if you're using the family and friends option, you are actually in breach of the terms and conditions of PayPal, and they can actually shut down your account, and you possibly won't get your money back, and you certainly won't get any goods. What the scammers say is that it's a better deal and you'll get your goods faster. So just be aware of that. It is actually a scam out there as well. So let's have a look at the dating online. This is all around social engineering. So we've just got a quick poll on here. Dare I ask, has anybody looked or used a dating app before? Okay, it looks like none of you have out there. It is interesting. It does always make me chuckle because when we do the live training, many people do know about them, have heard of them, and some have curiously just had a look at them. But it is funny. I mean, dating apps have been around for absolutely years and years and years, and many of them are safe and people have a really good experience around them. The reason why I'm just going to mention this is because there are so many scams going around on the dating online. So I just want to pick up on a couple of things on there, just in case you are thinking or even know somebody who are using these. So just a couple of points. You need to get to know the person, not the profile. Ask plenty of questions. Don't let your heart rule your head, and certainly don't rush into anything. Pick a reputable dating service and don't move the conversation away from the website or app's messaging service until you're absolutely confident that the person are who they say they are. And check that the person is genuine by putting their name, profile pictures, or any repeatedly used phrases and terms into like dating scams, romance scams, and catfish into your search engines. Do a reverse image search to see if the photograph is actually the person who they say they are, and check and cross-reference as well the social networking sites. Check that the person is genuine by putting their name, profile picture, or any repeatedly used phrases, as I say, into the search engines. So you met them online on a social networking site. You become good friends, but they say to you, don't tell others. Don't be fooled. Fraudsters operate much easier in secrecy. It's good to share your new love or interests with your friends and family. And remember, they've only got your own interests at heart, and they will guide you and protect you. And why would somebody ask you to borrow if they could borrow money off you? Especially if they've never met you or you've just met. There's no reason for anyone to ask for money or financial information. Whatever sob story or sad story they give you, please keep all your bank details and your account details to yourself. And if for any reason anything raises a warning sign to you, please stop, please talk to somebody. And don't overshare your personal details. Revealing your full name, date of birth, home address, or workplace could lead to you being fraud or even your identity being stolen. You need to protect your identity. If you do become a victim of a romance fraud, don't be embarrassed. Report it immediately to the dating site where you met the perpetrator, and also report it, especially any assaults, to the police. If you do decide to meet somebody, please take somebody with you. And keep them informed, and if you feel uncomfortable or anything, get yourself out there. But as I say, I'm just scratching the surface really. Have a look at the websites, there's lots of more information on there. But it's not just about money they're after. This Tinder breach saw 70,000 photographs sold on the dark web. These photographs could be used to target and harass, or even to generate fake user profiles to fool you into thinking they are looking at somebody else. It's frightening, as I know from experience, the right photographs can bring a high revenue for the criminal, especially as Tinder supports 13-year-olds using their site. So like all other apps, it's important. I can't stress how important it is that you review and update your privacy settings regularly. Let's look at sextortion. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but we know it's on the rise. We know it happens in your area, in your towns. Earlier this month, you may have read the news article about revenge porn. It's an interesting read, and one that certainly encourages people to come forward and report. So no matter how embarrassing and distressing this may be, please do tell somebody and speak to the police. There are laws there to protect you. There are no guarantees if you do pay. It's about blackmail. They're trying to blackmail you so that they don't release any pictures or anything else that they've taken from you while you've been chatting with them online. If you're not quite sure what sextortion is, just have a look at this little video.
That's it.
Okay, fine.
Cool.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, and go.
I'm more excited for this than I was The Dark Knight Rises. Jesus. Right, let's go. Okay, so I have received a friend request from Jess, 20 years old.
Everyone has received a friend request from a stranger. Come on, man.
No, but I don't accept.
I can probably show you 2 friend requests on my phone right now that I've took from random people.
Okay, so we're on Skype now, great.
I'm Jess. Sometimes you just want to have some fun.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean. You don't mean Monopoly, do you?
She's doing like cam girls, like, you know what I mean? Professional, like. You need to slow down just for a minute.
I could take my top off.
I've only just met you, Jess.
I'm intrigued to know what's going on because it's so random. I'm gonna be intrigued, so I'm just gonna
You intrigued
gonna
by
wait.
her?
You could take your top off.
Loads of people do it, don't they? I don't
Yeah,
think
I
it's
think so.
like,
Like
it's not
Tinder's a thing.
unusual. Yeah.
You're like one of those little videos that pop up at the bottom, like, hi, I want to chat. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's just weird.
There's like 20 single mums in your area. I'd probably just very quiet. I'd be like, I've never been this forward. Don't know what to do now.
I'm nervous though. I feel there's more to this.
I'd like to watch you doing stuff while I do stuff.
Yeah, so they're like, yep.
We're looking left or right.
They're like, wait, let me lock the door, let me.
Okay, you know what I think? I think this would be like a setup or something. I wouldn't take my top off. I wouldn't listen to anything she's saying.
At 26, it makes me feel really uncomfortable. At 20, it probably wouldn't have done.
How many, people talking about sending Snapchats? The word pic probably came off from our generation.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't. Because you know what?
I feel awkward, Jess.
You're being recorded.
Am I?
Understand? You're being blackmailed. Your contacts have been downloaded. The film will be shared with your friends, your family.
Oh, mate. Oh my God, does this happen?
Oh God.
Nah, that's bad. That's actually bad.
Your contacts have been downloaded.
Oh.
Understand?
Okay.
Unless you pay.
Now you're peeling off.
And now you're peeling off so many readies.
So that's like a completely false room. She's just there to image.
I'm literally gripping my knees so tightly now because this is tense.
Yeah.
Your fans, your mum, your dad, all the production companies you've ever worked for, Netflix, everyone. It's gonna define. I wouldn't be able to breathe.
And if you think you can talk me out of it, think again. Because for the guys behind me pressing the buttons, it's just business.
There's loads of guys all around the world sending like people like her to what's the word? Con people out of money.
It's crazy how quickly something like that can escalate from a friend request.
They want my money, and they've also got a video of me masturbating essentially, and they've got me on Facebook, so they could send it to my mum.
I never realised this existed.
Well, Dad, it's a new crime and it needs to be stopped.
I totally get what you're
Stopped
saying.
quicker by telling someone.
No,
if
I
you
totally
don't tell
get that.
no one, you're gonna end up bottling it up. You're gonna either be scared of the embarrassment and end up committing suicide or doing something silly.
I feel a bit shaken up. How much?
I'm going to stop it there. That actually was produced by the UK National Crime Agency, just to show people how easy it is to be drawn in. We do have across the board. It isn't just targeted at young people. It's everybody. And what the criminals are doing are just sending out blanket emails and testing the waters. And people are falling for this, and they're embarrassed, and they're paying out quite a lot of money. So we know this is on the rise, and we also know that this is happening where you are as well. So I just wanted to raise that for you. And now we're just going to go on to the last one, really, which is about safeguarding the young people. Parents often wish they could understand their child's online world, but it's not just about knowing the ins and outs of the latest games they use, but more about how you actually communicate. Communication is the key, especially where young people are concerned. So remember, you have life skills. It's not necessary to be an expert in order for you to help the children enjoy the internet safely. You may feel children are very technology savvy, but as guardians, we have the life skills that allow us to recognise the risks and the threats, and it's this that we need to share with the children. So let me just do a quick poll, just so I know who's out there. Are you a parent or a guardian, grandparents, educators? Okay, that's interesting. We've got educators, students, and none of the above. But let's face it, these sessions aren't just about you. I'm hoping you're going to take the information away and share it with your family and your friends and everybody else that you work with as well. Okay, just bear with me. It used to be stranger danger. That was the thing we prepared our children for when they went out and about on their own. But with the advent of social media, stranger danger can be much closer to home. For the majority in society who set out to harm children, places where young people congregate are like a magnet to them. However, in today's world, that includes not only the biggest social media platforms, but also games, apps, and platforms that allow children to connect with others online. There's no doubt that these companies must be doing more to protect our children, but there are practical things that parents, guardians, and everybody can do today to minimise the risks that the children face. Using privacy settings at the highest level, teach your children only to communicate with those who they know in real life, which can be difficult because if they are a gamer, they will be playing with lots of people who they don't know in real life. So it is essential that they understand the risks that they may be taking as well. And don't shy away from the difficult conversations about online risks, and make sure you stay engaged and have open conversations about what they do online. So what's changed? Well, when I grew up, I had books, and eventually we acquired a computer, but it was a big lump of a thing that took forever to boot up, and of course, what I could do on there was very limited. But nowadays, most young people will have a smartphone, or at the very least have access to the internet. That access may only be within the school setting, but there are limits, restrictions and rules they have to follow while they're using the devices. But at home, or rather, as soon as they leave the school grounds, many will have access 24/7 within their reach, without any restrictions or even checks as to what they're doing. So who then looks to ensure that our children are safe while they're online, whilst they're playing the games or socialising or just hanging out in the cyber world watching YouTube? Things have changed for our younger generation, and we have to move with it. So remember, we are all teachers. Children look for us and they copy what we do and what they can see. So some of you may just be able to relate to the next clip. This little tot had learnt from somebody that if she stands and shouts at the corner, she should get what she wants, which is her favourite song, Baby Shark. So you can see smart devices are great as long as they are set up correctly.
Alexa, Baby Shark.
Baby chair. Explicit isn't included with Prime, but is available with Amazon Music.
Alexa, play Baby Shark. Alexa, play Baby Shark.
Sure, baby. Hold back by Say Anything on Amazon Music.
Alexa, play Baby Shark.
Here's a sample of Baby Shark by Johnny Only on Amazon Music.
So she finally got what she wanted, but she learnt obviously from somebody that she can stand and scream at the Alexa, and they will eventually play. But imagine if she was saying things and Alexa picked up on some of the words, and obviously fed back to the child or whoever else is in the room. You do have to be mindful around these devices. So talking about learnt behaviours, what does your social media site say about you? This slide speaks for itself. If your settings aren't right, you are exposing all your pictures, including those of your children, to anyone and everybody to steal, use for whatever gratification they want, and of course to sell on without even you knowing. And as we know from last week, they will be there forever, which may not give your child the best start in life. So please think about what you're posting and why you're posting it. Is there another way you can send them to your family and friends without the world potentially getting their hands on them? Now I'm just going to have a look at this, technology at its best. We've I've tried to have a look at what people are using and what people are doing. But what could life look like for you without the internet? What do you think it'll look like? By all means, use the chat buttons again. But when we actually ask children, and these are your children when we came over to do some work in the Caribbean, when we asked them, what they said to us, it'd be lonely, they'd feel isolated, depressed even, anxious and panic in times of emergency. They couldn't get hold of the parents and guardians. And many of them actually said bored, which was quite interesting. And just to demonstrate what your children are doing online, I'm going to refer throughout to the national survey that was carried out in Jamaica in 2018. I can't find any recent figures or anything, so it would be interesting to see if one is done in 2020, how they actually do compare. But Jamaicans aged 13 to 18 are the first generation to be considered digital natives. This was carried out 2,200 Jamaican students, grades 7 to 13, they all took part, and they looked at lots of different things as well. So we'll go through and looking at that as well. But can I just ask you, with another quick poll, what's your device of choice? Smartphone, portable computer, or smart TV? And whilst you're just doing that, for children, 90% is the smartphone, which I think this was replicated for us adults as well. But what we have seen is an 82% rise in 2018. It'd be interesting to see what them figures are looking like now in 2020. So we've got smartphones as the top one for us and a portable computer as well. But I could put a massive list on there if you're thinking about it. If you think about Internet of Things, you've got your gaming consoles, you've got absolutely all sorts. Anything that can be connected to the internet can become a threat as well. Let's just carry on. So why do children not speak out? Well, this is a survey that was done for us over here. Two in five pupils will never tell anybody if something happens to them online. And it could be that they're just worried, they'll get in trouble at school or at home, embarrassed, or lack of words or means to explain, and they don't quite understand what's happened to them. They're worried about being called a snitch, or more to the point, a lot of young people can't see how an adult can help because they don't understand the technology and the online world that they work or live in. And they don't recognise what's happening online as problematic either. So we need to know the risks, or at least be aware of what's going on. But before I go on, let me just put the record straight. Most of the time, the internet can be an absolute brilliant and wonderful experience for most people, and of course, young children. However, there are times, like in the real world, it can be dangerous. It's like driving. You wouldn't let a child out driving unless they're old enough. But once they get behind the wheel, what you would do is give them lessons. You'd sit with them, or you get an appropriate adult to sit with them and show them everything that they need to know about driving. And then you would get them to go through about the dangers on the road and about other road users as well. But many a time we just put children in front of the TVs or the smart devices and let them go. So why can't we apply these principles for when our children start using the internet? And the earlier the better, so they understand you're not trying to stop them using the games or the apps, but more trying to help them take some responsibility for their own safety as well, with the caveat that you won't be cross or ban them from using the devices if they do flag something up to you. So let's just have a look. Risky online behaviour can be a result of growing up and wanting to push boundaries. Well, why? Possibly because of the hormones, developmental changes that influence the behaviour. They're curious about sex, challenging authority, and learning how to navigate peer relationships. They may be curious about their own sexual feelings and just need somewhere to explore without parents knowing. But the bottom line is that This can sometimes lead them to make bad decisions, especially with all the false news around, or even cause themselves physical harm with making video content such as enticing and intimidating stunts and risk-taking activities. So just looking at a few here on the slide. Cyberbullying. Well, that can be far-reaching to both the victims and the bully. Many may not realise that they're being bullied at first, especially if it's being done by their peers who they consider their friends. Victims have to live with the knowledge that anyone, anywhere, may be seeing a humiliating picture of them or reading derogative comments about them, and the bullies will leave a trail of their wrongdoings on their social media platforms for everybody else to see for years to come. And then we've got gambling and gaming. Some of these are done via phone apps, so young people don't always see the dangers or realise how much of the debt they're getting into. CSE, CCE, child sexual or criminal exploitation. Both have been around for many years and will continue to be a threat for so many different reasons. And sexting. They're told not to do it in school, but not many tell them why or the full implications, or in fact that it is devastating. But it doesn't have to be, because things can be done about it. If they're told this, then it will help them to understand that they do need to report and that there is help available for them. We often see photographs of celebrities that look flawless. It's hard to believe that they're even real. Well, children and young people find themselves chasing likes, chasing validations, and being very anxious about their appearance online and offline, and feeling that they can't disconnect. And then self-harm, lots of sites regarding self-harm which are readily available on the surface web and also through social media. Many of these chat forums give encouragement and ideas, but in actual fact, who's moderating them and what's being suggested and how supportive are they really? And then there is, of course, the young cyber criminal, which many do not see themselves as because it's low level and petty, or it's just maybe simple because they think they may not get caught. So where do you start when trying to talk to children? I know it can be daunting, but if you do try and keep it simple and be honest with them, otherwise they will just switch off and think you're fussing over nothing. Look at the 4 C's, and this should help break it down. Conduct. Well, children may be at risk because of their own behaviour, for example, by sharing too much information. It's easy to feel anonymous online, but children need to be aware of the impact that their online activity have on both themselves and others, and of course the digital footprint that they leave. Content. Always difficult when you also have parents allowing their children to have social media accounts and play games. Contact. We need to encourage them to regularly review their friends lists and remove unwanted contacts, to check their privacy settings, and to reinforce the importance of telling a trusted adult straight away if somebody is bullying them or making them feel uncomfortable. Or even if they have worries about one of their friends and they're displaying unusual behaviour online, it would be good that they can actually feel they can speak to the parents about this. And then there's the commercialism. Young people can be unaware of hidden costs and advertising in apps and games and websites. And children's privacy and enjoyment online can sometimes be affected by advertising and marketing schemes. We need to encourage children to learn how to block pop-ups and spam emails, and to turn off in-app purchasing on devices where possible, and encourage them to use a family email address when filling in online forms. So at least you can keep an eye on what they are doing, and we need to get them to think critically and take some responsibility of what they're doing online. So the top 4 social media sites that came out of the survey was WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook and Snapchat, which is quite interesting because this, as I say, was 2018, and I am sure it has actually changed now. But whatever site they're using, we need to make sure that it's age appropriate. And the 2 questions what I would suggest you ask is needs. Is it essential they have it, or want or would like to have it? And is that because all their friends have got it? So let's just have a look at a poll here. When was the last time you checked your settings? Less than a week, last month, sometime earlier this year, or you can't remember. We're looking at social media settings here. Okay, can't remember seems to be the high one there. We've got some last month and some sometime earlier this year, but the majority are saying can't remember. Okay, if you can't remember, then if you are involved with children or there are children about, that's quite worrying, because obviously then they're not doing, because they learn from other people as well. So how many children that you know are underage using these? Let's have a look. Facebook. You have to be 13. These are all terms and conditions for you to have the account. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube's a little bit different. You can have an account at 13. You can actually watch YouTube at any age. But if you want a channel where you're promoting yourself and other things, you have to be 18, at 17, or it can be younger as long as you've got your parents' permission. Snapchat 13. Now the interesting one is WhatsApp, which many young people are using out there, is actually 16. The ages are there for a reason. They're there to protect everybody really, but children in particularly. Now I don't want you to get hung up about these, as there are thousands of them that kids use, but I just wanted you to be aware that not all of them are as innocent as they seem. And certainly don't panic if you happen to be passing and you see one of them pop up on your child's device. Get to know the bigger picture, sit down with them, see what context it was delivered in, and then hopefully it may be a way in to actually have a deeper conversation about safety and your concerns. So that's just showing you some of the answers to them. I'm not sure if you guessed all of them, but they are actually quite interesting as well. You can actually go on the internet and you'll see a whole list of them there for you. And I'm going to touch on YouTube just quickly. YouTube, absolutely fantastic. You can, watch anything and everything on YouTube, from mending your washing machine to looking how to drive a car even. But again, with YouTube, there are actually some sites out there which are clone sites, or they've made so that we know children are using them, and they actually then do an alternative. So this is Peppa Pig, as you can see, and it is quite scary. So if you can imagine, if your YouTube settings aren't set right and a child is watching them and it automatically goes and rolls onto the next YouTube video, potentially start watching Peppa Pig, and then halfway through or in the middle you'll get something like this. And how can a 2-3-year-old tell the parents what they've seen? They don't have the words, it'll just be acted out in the behaviour. Again, there's lots of different things here. You've got Dokia, they actually give a warning. This video contains reference to suicide, self-harm, domestic abuse. If this kind of thing makes you uncomfortable, please don't watch. Well, to me, it's like a red rag to a bull. If a child sees that, they are going to be curious and they will want to watch it. YouTube actually for us, when we look at sites, have been given the red warning sites, and that's obvious reasons, is because obviously with YouTube there is so much out there that you can look and search for absolutely anything. But it is worth just checking, obviously depending on your children's age, what they are doing. You can report them, any inappropriate content that you do pop up, or get it flagged up to YouTube so it can be removed. If your children are younger, it's worth looking at YouTube Kids. This is absolutely fabulous. You can set your preferences and you can set different ones for different ages if you've got them throughout the family. One thing to note about YouTube Kids, though, is that if your child is probably anything over the age of 8 or 9, they may not want to use YouTube Kids because they are restricted to what they can see. But you can block things, and you can certainly report things on both YouTube and YouTube Kids. And then looking at body image and selfies. Many young people feel pressurized into always looking good, both online and offline. While some minimize the risk of their online profiles, others use strategies to provoke attention, including posting polls and countdowns to invite comments from other users. They'll share lots of different pictures, and they'll ask for shout-outs to increase their number of friends and followers. And some young people are increasingly using filter apps, particularly those which alter and optimize their facial and physical appearance, as some young people do feel pressurized to look perfect all the time. So when kids grow up surrounded by appearance-obsessed messages such as weight loss, smile more, and perfect your parts, perfect your life, plastered everywhere, these messages rake in billions, but get us nowhere closer to the real health and happiness. Instead, these messages become so normal, so unquestioned, that we believe and act what we're told. It's certainly a difficult time for everyone right now, so let's try and keep things real and help them understand that nobody can look perfect 24/7. Be a great role model to them, and always consider what you post about yourself and the family. We've got concerns about young children, boys and girls, because of what they're seeing on the social media sites and in the papers and everything, that they too want to be like their idols. These are two pictures here. You can see one which has been altered. A lot of the new smartphones now already have filters switched on and ready. And then the other thing is about online radicalisation. Well, anyone can be vulnerable to extremism and radicalisation, but children are particularly at risk. Teenage years are often a time when young people will be searching for answers to questions about their identity, faith and belonging, as well as looking for adventures and excitement. Extremist groups know young people are vulnerable and may claim to offer them answers and identity and a strong social network. They will prey on those who are vulnerable by what they reveal in their profiles and the posts and the tweets, and of course the photographs, and even the friends lists. If you would like to know more about this, please go to the websites and click on the Safeguarding Children tab. There's lots of information on there as well. And then sexting. This figure was taken from the Jamaican survey. It is interesting to see that grade 12 students are the least likely to do this. When I did the work with them, with the older students, they told me it was probably because they'd already seen it before and that it really wasn't any shocking to them anymore. But it's interesting. This may help young people take a step back and to think about what sending a nude picture actually means, and in relation to some of the websites they may be looking at or films they're watching. Remember, what's seen can't be unseen.
Yes, come on.
I told her, I got a lot, girl, I got a grip. So if you wanna see them bands, I gotta see you strip. Cause I got hella bands, hella bands. I got hella bands, hella bands. I got hella bands, hella bands. And if you don't do it, then somebody else can. Cause I got mucho dinero.
Paul, my man, looking good.
Let me guess, webcam still ain't working?
Yeah, sorry, you know what I'm like.
Yeah, but I don't know what you look like still.
So, why are you going out tonight? Good-looking guy like you, Friday night, single girls all over the place, single boys too.
Shut up, JJ.
Chill, I'm not judging. Nobody understands more than me. Remember?
I know.
Hey, listen. I can trust you, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Tell me what you think of this. Not quite the reaction I was hoping for.
No, it's just...
You wanted to know what I look like. Now you know.
Yeah, I guess, but you look a little older than I thought.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Come on, you must have taken your own photos, right? I knew it. Come on, show me.
No.
Hey, come on, it's only fair. Don't you trust me?
can't actually be doing this.
Why? What's wrong?
Sending a naked selfie to some random older man. Really?
He's not random, man. He's only a little bit older. He's nice.
So now we get naked for anyone who's nice.
But he's the only one who gets me.
But someone who gets you, lie about the age, then ask you to send them pics.
Sending one little pic can't hurt.
Even if that was true, you think that's all he wants? What's he gonna do with it? Who's he gonna send it to? Once it's on the internet? Think about it. There's no undo button. At least talk to someone first.
Who? Mum? Dad? They'd kill me if they found out I was talking to some weirdo on the internet.
Talk to Lara. Or Megan. Anyone.
Just don't talk to JJ. He's not a friend.
Come on, mate. What you gonna do?
Sometimes all the videos I'm using and showing are available on YouTube anyway, but it's sometimes easier to talk with young people if you have the tools and a video to show them to open up the conversations. But what can you do about sexting? There is a little app called Zip It. It's an NSPCC app, so it's from a reputable source. It's for children who are 12 and over. What it does is actually gives the children something to respond. So if one of the friends or if somebody's asking them to do something, it gives them a picture that they can send, and it helps ease the situation for them. Or they can just download something. I quite like this particular one. I can't send you a nude photograph right now, but I'll forward it to my dad and you can try and ask him sometime. But when we're actually talking about sexting and pictures and things like that, it's never too early to start having the conversations about keeping secrets or sending pictures. The earlier the better. But remember to go to your chat at your child's speed, as everybody obviously develops differently.
One day, Alex and Sam were mucking around on their phones.
Why don't we take a selfie? Yeah.
Then Sam had an idea.
I'll take a picture.
What if they sent a picture of Alex's willy to their friend Katie? You know, the kind that disappears in a few seconds. When Katie saw it, she thought it was very funny. So she screen grabbed the picture and sent it to her friends. And they sent it to theirs. And the next day at school...
Newsflash! The world sees Alex's willy.
Alex even got a message from a bully. He then got one from a man he didn't know. Sometimes children share things they shouldn't online. And the effects can be devastating. Help keep your child safe. Be share aware. One day...
Okay, so there's quite a lot out there that you are able to start the conversations with children. And then just let's have a look. Gaming. Well, this is a balancing act. It is in my household anyway. I think both of my kids have turned nocturnal because obviously we've got lockdown over here, and they've all just thought about the youth again, and they've started with the games. But actually, what we see as adults, family issues, unable to concentrate, trouble sleeping, friendship issues, poor hygiene, poor school grades, stealing funds to fund their addiction. But we need to flip it on the other side, because gaming actually develops coordination skills, develops team building, life skills, critical thinking, meet new people, able to fit in and spend time with the friends. We need to think a little bit differently about gaming and what it actually all means. A lot of employers are looking for these particular skills. So let's show an interest and let's try and understand what they're trying to do. And then we've got bullying. Well, how is it different? Well, with bullying, obviously it's a larger audience, it's 24/7, but we also got to remember that cyberbullies, they can leave a digital footprint, which is absolutely fantastic because obviously that's evidence as well. But what are the most common forms of bullying? Well, social media, emails, texts, instant messaging, the bullies will find a way to get there. Sharing their images, chat apps are the bullying on that way, or even the games, purposely blocking them. And then with the signs, when bullying happens online, it can feel as if it's being attacked from everywhere and not just from the school or wherever it's happening. It is 24/7. The effects are long-term and can affect a person in many different ways. Mentally, they feel upset, embarrassed, stupid, even angry. Emotionally, feeling ashamed or losing interest in the things that they love the most. Physically, they're tired, loss of sleep, because they're always checking their devices and their phones. But there is things you can help. Give them emotional support, getting them not to reply to the bullies. Keep the evidence as well so they can show the teacher and try and get help in the schools as well. Block them. Report them to the platforms that they've been using as well. So potentially they could be blocked as well. But don't deny them the devices, because in a way you are making them be a victim again, really. They do need to keep in touch with their friends, their real friends. If you teach them how to report, so whatever social media site, whatever they're using, it is quite easy. As I say, there is some information on the websites. If not, all you need to do in your search engine, how do you report, say, on WhatsApp or Instagram, whichever is where the problem is. And I'm not going to go through every app because there's so many out there. Whatever app your child is using, just make sure that it's age appropriate and the settings are correct, and that they know they can come to you if they've got any worries or if they've seen anything that upsets them. But I do want to share this one and with the pitfalls of any app to help you understand the importance of why you need to take an active role in your child's online world. So let's just have a look, for example. Well, this app is free to download and the age is rated at 12 plus. Aminio is an app dedicated to communities and chat forums and fan groups so people can share interests. This little schoolgirl, she loves the game so much that she was part of. She wanted to chat to the other players and share her character creations. So she joined a Gotcha Live forum, which is part of the Aminio app. Yes, she's only 10, but her mum felt it was a good app and a good way for her to meet new friends and to understand. She could understand that if there was anything, she'd tell her mum. But what happened next actually shocked them both. When she joined the Aminio group, she got a message that read, "Welcome to the group. My name is Mandy and I work with Aminio. So if you don't know, this is a safe space for young girls. We require users to be 14 and younger. If you fit these requirements, you can be here. We also have to make sure that all members here are girls. To verify this, I need you to take a picture of your bare chest with a bra on if you feel uncomfortable, and age. This is just an extra security feature, for all members must do this. Users that refuse will be banned permanently." This, unfortunately, is a reflection of the dangers that many apps and games have. Now, it'd be interesting to see how many of you are on TikTok and any of you do the challenges even. Again, the challenges can be fun, especially if the whole family are involved, and this one particularly. I did try and learn that for when we were doing the live sessions, but I couldn't. But anyway, and then we've got challenges like this. It's really, really, really worrying, especially challenges like this one, but it is important that you discuss what actually is really happening. In challenges like these, a lot of children think it's funny and they will dare their friends to do it as well. But when you actually sit down with them and explain to them the full implication of what could happen, they realise that actually it isn't fun. So this is tripping jump or school breaker. It was very much last year, well, earlier this year, but it is still out there and people are still doing it. Now, TikTok have changed the way they are doing a lot because they did get quite a lot of negative press. But use the settings. They've actually just set up a digital well-being, which is really, really good, and it will help you protect the children. Help them to understand how to block and to report. So I'm just going to give you some websites and some suggestions on where you can go if you do need them. First of all, people ask us, well, what about parental control and apps? There's so many out there that you need to do your research and choose one that's best for you and the family. But remember, whatever you will implement, they'll only work if they're turned on. And children are resourceful, and they will find a way to turn them off and then turn them back on without you even knowing. But it is worth definitely looking and seeing which is best for you. Google Family Link, this is very good. It allows your child to have their own email and everything else that they can do through Google. But whatever they do, if they're downloading apps and things, you actually have overall sight of absolutely everything. There is one thing with this one, that as soon as the child turns 13, it will actually automatically go to an adult site, or they have access to their own controls, so you will no longer manage their account, but you will get an email telling you this. ChildNet is absolutely brilliant. There's free resources there for age 13 to 18. You can just download them and pull off what you need, especially if you are an educator. Common Sense Media, this is a good one because they've a library of independent age-based resources. They've hundreds and hundreds. If you're not sure how to set up the settings on an Xbox, it's all there for you. And then internetmatters.org, again, this is more information there for you. It's actually broken down into age group, which does help as well for searching purposes. Now, Internet Watch Foundation, these takes reports of any sexual abuse imagery, and you can actually report it anonymously as well. So if your children do come to you and say they've seen something, please do report it so we can get these images removed. And then the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children, they've got a helpline there. They can help you report if your child is being groomed and that sort of thing. So the good news is, going back to the survey, again, 2018, that not every child is addicted to their online world. It would be interesting to see what the survey says now, as I say, in 2020. But I would say it is quite high because of the COVID-19 restrictions. Obviously, a lot of children and adults are using and spending more time online. So don't forget, we've got the Commonwealth, they've got their Instagram and Facebook. It is good to follow so that you can get all the latest updates and information out there as well. And then as we come to the end here, I just want to show you the 3 websites again. You've got your own website, which is the getsafeonline.bb, and then GetSafe Online, which is the Commonwealth one, and then obviously the UK one. They're all there for you to use and to access. But remember, do report any concerns, especially if it involves children, to your local police station by either using the hotline number, which is 211, or obviously go to your station using the station's local telephone numbers as well. And that actually brings me to the end. So I'll hand you back over to Brittany, and just thanks very much for listening.